Invariably, when reading YouTube comments on Aikido videos, you will see Aikido is bullshit. This would never work in MMA. Wish I'd see them try. I could see them try this against a resisting opponent. And then you'll have the other side of that coming in and saying, you don't know what you're talking about. If you resist, you'll break bones. MMA has rules. Aikido, strictly speaking, doesn't. And it's true, people saying it's bullshit don't know what they're talking about, or at least their frame of reference is skewed. And honestly, the other side is too. The benefit of Aikido is in the actual practice, in what you're doing. The point is not to learn to fight, it is not to learn to beat someone up, it is not for self defense. That is not the point. Now, those applications exist, and a lot of that depends on who your teacher is. Um, some Aikido is extremely soft, and some is very hard, and it spans all the way across that spectrum. Um, and I think if you go too far in either direction, you're losing some of the value, some of the essence of what you're doing. If you're too soft, then your uke, your partner, is far too compliant, and you can't get a sound technique. If you're practicing too hard, well, you'll still need someone who's compliant to some extent because of that injuring factor. But if your style is too hard, I also think you're losing some of the essence, because the concept of non-harm is not harming that person is integral to Aikido, and that's why a lot of the practice is so difficult. So why is that non-harm concept important? You have to be razor sharp. Your technique has to be razor sharp to do it in such a way as to be effective, but also not harm somebody. And that to me is intrinsic to why the practice is so valuable. So if I have somebody's arm, their elbow here, and I can easily break that arm, hyperextend through it and break it, that's a simple blunt force approach. It doesn't take hard training. It doesn't take years and years of practice to learn something like that. But to come under that person's arm and use that and move in a direction to control them, learning to do that is difficult. Learning to go around where they're strong, maximize your own, what you can do with the strength you have versus what they can resist with the strength they have. So I have a friend of mine is a very high ranking person in another martial art, and they've trained martial arts for decades. And I have felt his versions of, what we would call, say, Nikki or Kotagaishi. Um, and by what we do, they they're honestly crude. They require him to have the exceptional strength that he has. If I tried to do it the way he does it, I'm just not strong enough. But the way that we move requires less strength, and you can learn to do that. So, is there some self defense application? Yes, but you got to think it takes two people to fight. So if you throw me in the octagon, what am I going to do? I'm not interested in scoring points. I'm not interested in standing toe to toe with you and winning a match. So I would probably try to get out of the way as best as possible. Um, and then, if you're a boxer and we're standing and he's standing in close and he's just jabbing and he's trying to pick his shots, well, I don't have to stand there in front of him. And then if I start getting out of his way and he gets frustrated and he starts chasing me, the more and more he gets frustrated, the more and more he starts coming hard at me, the more and more he leaves himself open to something. But at that point, what I might do, whatever it might be, it would probably be whatever fell out of my head. That's not going to be Aikido anymore. Not really. I will have used principles I've learned and turned them into something combative, but really that's not Aikido anymore. And I talked to someone who's practiced much, much longer than me, a couple decades, and he actually got attacked by three guys in a parking lot somewhere one time. And he was just like, yeah, I kept moving and I kept cutting. Like basically Yoko Minucci or Sho Minucci cuts, cutting with their movement and just kept getting out of the way. Three attackers. He didn't hit any of them. And he said he had some glancing hits. He was hit a couple times, but not solidly, and he wasn't taken down. And eventually, he got an escape route, and he got away. That to me, that's good aikido. Um, and he was actually like he at the time he felt down on himself, like I'm not even doing any techniques. Well, maybe you don't need to. But once again, that's not really the point. To me, Aikido is about self improvement because you're not working to compete with somebody else. I'm not working to that's an opponent I'm going to defeat. I'm not focused outward. I'm focused inward. Um, I'm trying to improve myself in a specific way, and it's about body control. It's about having your mind control your body in very fine tuned ways. And this kind of focus, this kind of self development has helped my life immensely, changed my life. I'm a completely different person than when I was before I started training in Aikido. And to me, that personal transformation is really the point. As you're perfecting the technique, you're perfecting yourself. Sort of an outward manifestation of an inward goal. But I don't think you get that if not to the extent that we do if you're just learning to fight, learning to mess people up. And I think a lot of that is the detail that's required, the the focus. If you're doing Aikido, you can't think about anything else at all for it to work. So yeah, I think so. People they watch MMA and they go, "You're not going to see Aikido in that." Yeah, because Aikido doesn't involve contest. It's not about me contesting with somebody else. It's about me improving myself. And if you're getting on the comment sections and you're getting into arguments and telling people they're idiots, they're fucking idiots because they don't really understand Aikido, well, maybe you don't understand it either. Maybe. It's about perfecting the self. It's the benefit, it's what you gain from doing it. It's about balance within yourself. So yes, you can use Aikido for self defense to some extent, uh, but once you do, and it takes a long time. The learning curve is very steep. It's very steep. There are much quicker and easier ways if you want to win fights. Honestly, you know, a lot easier ways. But it can be used for that. But once you apply those things in that confrontational situation, I think you're changing it to something else. So the benefit is in the practice.